All right, guys, today's finally the day. This is something I've been waiting for a long time to happen. I'm gonna put a mezzanine up in this area of the shop. Essentially, I'm gonna come just from right here over this way, just to this side of my workbench, and then back to that wall. I'm hoping to have 5 foot from the floor to the ceiling up top there, and about maybe 7 foot right here. Ideally, I just need a whole bunch of more storage for things like camping gear, tools that I don't use very often. I need more space. That's all it boils down to. This is gonna be about 11 feet by 10 feet, so 110 square feet of storage. And then I'm probably gonna put shelving up on the walls there too, just so I can kind of maximize the storage, keep things neat and tidy. And my plan for this right now is just to have a ladder access. So if I need to get up there, I've got a step ladder I can bring up there, climb up. I may in the future put down like a permanent ladder that kind of comes down on a rope. I'm not entirely sure, but for right now, I just want to get stuff up there. Let's get on clearing this junk out. All right, so I think what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna put, I'm gonna basically leave this is the full 8 foot. And so I'm gonna have 8 feet clearance under here. And I ran some numbers really quick and I kind of mocked up how much room I would have. This is basically what it looks like. So I will have this much room from the floor of the mezzanine to the ceiling. So it's gonna be smaller up there. But then again, this is just for storage, right? I mean, I'll be able to get lots of stuff. This will be enough height for bicycles. I want to make sure I can put bicycles up there if I decide to. I'm not sure. We've been doing a lot of winter cycling lately, so bikes might not ever live up on the mezzanine. But just in case, I think this should be enough room. I mean, it's enough that, well, I mean, I'll be able to move boxes, shuffle stuff around. And again, this is for like long-term storage, so I don't think this is gonna really be too much of an issue. Now, I picked up a tool, and this is something I've been hesitant on ever buying, but I figured this was the right project for it. And I got one of these laser levels. This was just a cheapo DeWalt from Canadian Tire. They work pretty slick. You just flick it on like this, it self-levels, and then it'll, you can kind of set the height you want, and it actually gives a really nice beam. I'm gonna mount it, I was hoping on the railing up there, or maybe on the wall, that way so I can set exactly 8 feet high. Slide her down a little bit. Well, it doesn't show up super well. I guess it's good enough on camera, but that's pretty much where we're gonna have it set. And then I'll go ahead and I'll figure out where all my studs are, mark those, and then I might actually just take a pencil and kind of mark out where that line is. But now I know, what I need to clear. It's not showing up well at all, but you can see the laser just at the top of the sign. So the sign is gonna have to come down. And I set it up so it's just right on the top of that thing there. So that's gonna stay intact. No sense taking that down. And it's all anchored to the wall and stuff. So that'll be the bottom of our floor joist, that line there. And then we'll... One thing I can do, I'm not sure how well this is showing up, but you kind of see this dark spot where the screws are. I get little magnetic dust particles. So I can see there's a stud there. I'm not sure if you can see it, but you can see there's a slight discoloration there where some dust is stuck to that screw. So I know that roughly right there is where we're gonna start. And then obviously I'll verify it with stud finder. No, that's not giving me a good reading. Right there. That's not gonna end. I'm wondering if there's extra. Yeah, so there's our stud right there. Mark the line, the level, and the center of our stud. And we'll just move along the wall and do that. And since this was framed on 16-inch centers, we should also be able to just measure out 16 inches. Put our mark. Yep. There's a stud. There's no stud. So often an easy way to find them is just go like this. Right there, and then our level right there. And I'm just gonna continue this along.
And once I have all of those marked out, I'm going to go ahead and mount this plate to the wall. Now this one is going to get joist hangers mounted on it. And on that back wall, it's just going to be supporting the plywood. So I kind of got started on this, and then my son was available, and I thought, you know what? He needs to learn how to do this stuff. I'm trying to get my sons involved with these projects so that when they're adults, they will at least have some of the basic know-how to do some of this themselves.
All right, so we've got this one plate up, and what I'm using for screws, I might come in and put a couple of lag bolts in, but I've got these 4" by 3/16 screws. I've got a Torx drive on them, and these suckers are pretty robust. So we've got that plate put in, and then I've measured out. I'm gonna cut this next plate, and then we're gonna do the plate coming across this way, the plate coming across this way. What I also have to do is to notch out this 6x6. So essentially, I'm just gonna kind of notch it out for the 2x6 to come into it, and I'm gonna put a double header on here. And what I'd like to do for tonight, if I can, is to get this whole box thing kind of squared off. So we'll get this plate up, mounted to there, we'll get that plate on the wall, and we'll get this one put in. Then tomorrow, we can put all of our joist hangers in, and then run all of our joists.
Now to check this thing for square, I'm going to use a little trick called the 3-4-5 triangle. And what you do is, in your corner here, you want to check for 90 degrees. So you'll measure one of those legs and mark any unit of 3. It could be 3 inches, 3 feet, 3 meters. On the next leg, you'll mark out 4 feet, 4 inches, 4 meters, whatever. When you measure from the end point of each of those legs, you should get 5. And that will tell you whether you need to grow that angle or shrink that angle. If you do have 5, you will end up with a perfect 90-degree angle The 3-4-5 triangle trick. Slick as a whistle. What I'm going to do for hanging my joist hangers is I put this little piece together, a 2x8, 2x8, and I made it so that even up against the wall there's clearance, so I didn't have this hanging over too far. And all I have to do is come over to these lines I've marked out, put this up here, grab it like this, and screw it in, and that way I'll be referencing the proper height so that this board, this 2x8, when I put my joist in, it's going to be really, really flush. These joist hangers have a little room like this, so I thought rather than just kind of holding it up there, I can set this exactly, grab this like this, bing, 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 done. So I'm going to hang all these joist hangers and then we'll start cutting our joists.
For me yet?
You betcha. That looks pretty good, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And so what I think we'll do is I'll make little hooks in here, and I can put skis. And just keep all our skis in here. Sweet. Okay, so now what we should ought to do is put some blocking in quick.
What?
Blocking. So
like...
yeah. So what I'll do is I'll measure. I'll cut a whole bunch of them up, and I'll put one, and then we just stagger them a bit, right?
Yeah.
So let me do a measurementation.
Dad, do you think these things will hold me?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
They hold me.
I'm gonna... Can I shuffle across it?
So if we just kind of come here, do 70. Let's get this out of here.
Oops.
Probably go over that way just a little bit.
This way? Like that?
And you, yeah, you want it straight, sure, for that. A little further. And then we'll do 1, 2. We'll do a couple in each one. All right, so we've got all of our cross blocking in, and the boys are doing a good job. Guys having fun? Sort of. So I think the next part is we're going to bring in our plywood, and I'm going to run the sheets this way, so it'll be 4 feet this way, 8 foot this way, and I believe the 8 foot will bring us right to this joist right here, and then we'll just cut some extras. So I think it's going to be 3 sheets of plywood for here, and then I think the 4th one should cover it. Not sure, but we're going to kind of rough those in. Once we have those in, then we will go to town, grab some uprights to make the handrails, and then also if we need a little bit more plywood, we can grab that. But so far it's coming pretty good. That thing's pretty strong, isn't it? Super robust. You guys do a good job.
All right, folks, the project is finished and I'm super happy with the way this turned out. I'll kind of go over a couple of details here since this is the end of the video. This here was set to 88 inches from the floor, and so that gives me 14 inches clearance to my head. I think that should be plenty. And again, I was kind of thinking originally about leaving this a little bit lower, but ultimately I'm going to be down here more than I'm going to be up there. So it makes sense to have a little bit more freedom to move in here. Still have room for bicycles, plenty of room to store stuff up there. And I'm just going to grab the camera here and give you a quick walk around as to some of the details we did to finish this up. You can see I have my Simple Little Life sign from my buddy Mike. Thank you, Mike. Much appreciated for that. I couldn't ever let that go. As far as other lighting in here, I put up 6 of these inexpensive recessed lights. We got these for like $2 a light, and they just have a little piece of plywood in there, put a hole, and then wired them all up. I put one over this workbench, and then one over this kind of walkway right in here. I wanted one over that workbench, so I'm doing paperwork, computer work, and then these 3 were just to light up this main floor area here. Now I repurposed these light pods that I got from Costco, and those are my main task lighting for my my workbench, and they do a fantastic job, really light it up nicely. I did have this installed previously on a 2x4, which is right here, but with this shelf being lowered a little bit, when I put it back in, this top actually hit the truss up here. So what I did is I made this little bracket with some pipe, and then I bored out this piece of steel here so this would fit in nice and snug. And you see I welded it at an angle as well. And what that does, it allows this to articulate over this way. And so this becomes really good secondary task lighting if I need a whole bunch of light here. Also, it can swing over and service this little workbench here. So that was a really handy little thing that I did. The main reason I need a light right here though is for this station. And this is my hand sanding station where I hand sand knives. And the ability to move a light around and create different shadows is so important to be able to see what's going on with your hand sanding. So having this, being able to do this, really makes a difference. I actually tried a couple days ago sanding a knife, trying to use the window light, but it just didn't work well. So I wanted to bring that back. I've started to utilize some of the storage up here. I haven't gone crazy with it yet. One thing I would like to do is actually put some storage for skis up in here. And that way when we're gonna go skiing, you know, I can just take them out, put them in the Thule, and then put them back, and we're not bringing them downstairs, banging up the walls. Also, another advantage of this is you can see in this instance, I've got a Manfrotto Magic Arm. So I can set cameras up in here, move them all around, and get really nice overhead shots on this workbench here. Now, to get up to the mezzanine, what I do is I take that step ladder and I set it right here. Bada boom, bada bing. I'm leaving this part open, and that's just a 2x4 with 1x4s going horizontally. And you know, if you lean on that, you're not gonna fall off. That's really all it's there for. It's not like a super sturdy thing, but just to kind of, you know, make sure you don't accidentally fall off when you're moving something around. I don't have a lot of stuff up there yet, but you can see we've got plenty of room for bicycles, got some golf clubs, tools, yada, yada, yada. I'm really happy with the way this worked out, this little detail in the post, and then this 6x6, got it leveled out. It's not quite touching my bench. I didn't want it to touch my bench, but we've still got plenty of room here, about 3 feet to walk in here. And happy accident, this is the top of my welding bench, and it slides right in there, and I can lean that there. So I've got my welding bench stored there. And overall, I'm just super happy with it. I've also got this little task lighting from when I'm doing some precision work. And man, I am really digging this. The one thing I find under here is I actually really like the way this feels. Somehow, this is more cozy to me. I know it sounds strange, but I like the feeling. It feels good in here. You know, it's nice and cozy and safe. And then I walk out here and it's like, a big ceiling with spiders over top. The one thing I do need to work on though is that you notice this light color when I'm, you know, moving back and forth. Under here, these are like a tungsten colored LED. They're really nice, like they're very warm and cozy, but if you're gonna be doing filming and YouTube stuff, just look at that ugly transition. That's gonna be a problem. So I need to figure out whether or not I'm gonna swap these out. And you know, I've got these all over the garage. I think these ones are closer to daylight than those ones are. Those are more like a tungsten. So I might actually swap those out so that I can, ultimately I think it's best to match daylight. It's a better color light. I've got the big window here. I've got the garage door windows. So I think I might end up switching these lights out, but I need to do a little research and figure it out. But overall, I'm really happy with this project. And you know, a lot of garages these days have high roofs. So if you're looking for some extra storage and if you don't want to get this carried away, you know, you could take the same idea, bring it out 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, and a lot of folks will actually just tie this up to their ceiling. And you know, you put Rubbermaids up there. I'm not going to be putting a lot of weight up here. Ultimately, this is going to be for things like winter clothing, summer clothing, camping stuff, sleeping bags, sleeping pads, tents. I mean, that stuff gets a little bit heavy after a while, but ultimately I really don't think I'm not too concerned. I've used 2x8s here. I'm not a professional framer, so what I have done may or may not be the right way to do it, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be plenty strong, plenty stable. When I'm up there, like me and the boys are up there jumping around, it's not going anywhere, and man, this is gonna make life more organized. Anyways, I wanna thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Cheers.